Parents whose kids went on to be porn stars, prostitutes, etc., are you proud of them? Why or why not? My relationships are fine with her, she even let me be in one of her films. Oh, I've probably watched that one. I know a girl who's a porn star. We used to work together and she was 18 at the time we worked together at a big box store. She would often ask me sex questions. She was a virgin and asked my opinion on who she should lose her virginity to. She was just a weird, nerdy girl. She had no boobs, but got them done to the extreme, like super huge, and they look awful now. She went from bee stings to literally beach balls. Anyways, continue with the side story. Her first porn session was hilarious, total newbie, and asked the dude she was jerking off if it was going to explode on her. She was so dumb and new to it all. It was crazy how she went from virgin to porn star in a matter of months. As for her parents being disappointed, her mom was pissed and her dad passed away when she was younger, so she didn't really have a father figure, which seems like a common thing in porn, where one parent is missing in the picture. She went on to be pretty big, did heavy drugs, really messed up her life. Don't know what she's up to now, but it was crazy how someone can go 0 to 60 like that. Speaking as the child, they are super proud of me now and I'm about to pop out their second grandchild in 2 years. I'm an ex-worker who stopped over 13 years ago. I went on to forge a quite respectable corporate career, get my shit together, buy a home and car, get married, etc. My in-laws also know what I used to do and couldn't give a rat's ass and love me to pieces too. 2 years is an awfully long pregnancy. Diavolo's mom? My mom was a prostitute in the Dallas/Fort Worth area when I was growing up. I would often be with her as she went on mommy adventures. I had a backpack full of toys and books, so it wasn't a huge deal. Most dudes didn't give a fuck, and it kinda worked out for the bestest the time. Mom was a big meth addict but loved me. I always knew that mommy adventures led to McDonald's the next day, so I didn't give a shit about it. Looking back, it didn't fuck me up as an adult or anything, and it's nice knowing even before she got her fix that she would make sure I had a 6-piece nugget meal first. I am glad/I hope that you're okay. That's a lot of weight to put on a kid. One of my best friends is a swear/porn star and her mum knows and is proud of her. SW is real work, and despite the professional dicking as my friend calls it, there's a shit ton of boring ass admin work too. Bunch of people have some super outdated notions about SW around here. Maybe talk to a swear? Not a parent, but we recently discovered someone. I don't want to be too specific because it's not my place to be talking about this, and I haven't told anyone before. In my family is a prostitute. When her dad found out, it completely broke his heart. Apparently she was just doing it for the money, which makes no sense because her dad has a lot of money. She didn't need to be doing that. He asked her to please stop and is trying to help her. We don't know for sure if she has stopped. All I know is that it destroyed her father. Not a parent, but 2 of my good friends are sex workers. One is a porn star, and the other is a hooker. I'm not particularly proud of them, but I respect their choices as long as they're both careful. I almost became a sex worker a few years ago when I was desperate to get away from my abusive family, and even though I didn't end up doing it, it isn't something you take lightly. Even my porn star friend says that even though she looks like she's enjoying it on film, she doesn't really like it most of the time and she's not proud of what she does. My hooker friend on the other hand is proud as shit and her parents know what she does. They support her as long as she's happy and healthy. I support legalizing prostitution. A normal amount of pounding by a normal amount of dong versus a marathon pounding by a monster dong. I had to write a college essay on why I thought prostitution should be legalized. Got an A on it too. I think it was the best essay I ever wrote. I drove with Lyft in Las Vegas for a few months and I picked up a gay porn star where he called his mom on speaker to tell her about how he was just cast in 2 pornos. She was very proud of him from what I heard, as he was getting paid, and he had moved to Vegas from a small European town to pursue porn. Only if I'm getting that family discount. I still hide the fact that I work in porn from my parents. My mom was a prostitute and it basically ruined life of my whole family. If I had a kid do that, I'm honestly not sure how I'd feel. On one side I'd say it's a smart financial move, because sex sells like nothing else, and a human body is just a human body at the end of the day. But on the other side, I really wouldn't want my kid exposed to that kind of lifestyle, and I don't want them to be seen as an object of lust, or regarded in a negative fashion for their tastes and private lives. At the end of the day, I'm sure I could come to terms with it if it made them happy, and kept them relatively safe. But I would prefer them finding something a bit more appropriate and more of a career path. No one I know would put porn star on their resume, so I feel like Terry's a reason for that. It depends on what you're applying for. You only list relevant experience. For example, you may list porn star on your resume if you're going to work at a brothel, or as an escort, or marrying a rich old man. Well, he works hard. There is that. Stepkids. Probably too proud of them if you know what I mean. My kid can fit 6 dicks in her at once, I'm so proud. Said no parent ever XD. 6? Rookie numbers, my kid fits 12. Stop writing kid FBI open up. I recently found out my stepmom was a prostitute and that my dad was a customer. NGL, I was very grossed out at first, but now I see that they really love each other. Your dad is Deadpool. Nah, John Marston, this is Jack right here. Looks like there hasn't been a single reply from the people you are actually asking. Welcome to AskReddit. I'm expecting a whole lot of not a parent S and not my kid but S in this one. That's every comment on r/AskReddit. I guess we could ask Bernie Kosar. High-profile football quarter from the early 90s. His daughter, Sarah, was a porn star. Edit for spelling, cause I have sausage fingers. Not a parent but a sibling. And no, I am not proud, why would I be? She suddenly started coming home with gadgets she couldn't possibly afford as a part-time game store worker. Newest smartphone, designer clothes, shortly after she moved out. Me and mom suspected she found a sugar daddy but decided not to ask questions since she wouldn't tell us anyways. I was still at college back then. I became suspicious when my college friends suddenly started avoiding contact with me. They would look at me and smirk but otherwise refused to explain why. A few months pass and I am basically afraid to leave home in fear I would meet those weirdly smiling people on my way to school/work. One day I just straight up asked one of my friends what's the deal with all that shit. He only said I'm sorry and showed me the clip. It all became very clear to me. We are twins. I was devastated. I confronted her but the only thing she said was why not and because I can. I couldn't understand shit even more since my family was far from being poor. Me and my mom had to leave the city and move 200 miles to where my extended family lived. I am still getting weird stares from people but it's not as obnoxious and anxiety inducing as before. It's been 6 years, I don't know how she is doing and I frankly don't care. I hope this gets a lot of upvotes because I'm curious. Hopefully XD. I'm not old enough to have children of that age, but a good friend who is 10 years older than I am has a 20 or 21-year-old daughter that is currently a very well-known adult film star. He tolerates it though he wishes she would have done something else with her life. Me? I've seen a few videos. Makes me proud. Edit, sorry guys I am not providing her name. Then people might track down the father and other stuff. Also I doubt he'd care for me discussing his daughter on Reddit. We just wanna be proud of her too. I might even be up for being proud of her twice tonight. I respect them and their paychecks. Some I know are making a ridiculous amount equivalent to annual salaries in a month. Stripper I know makes like $100 per hour most nights. I should have been a hot girl. You still can. I'm a sex worker child speaking on behalf of my mom. She is so proud of me and all I've accomplished. She's super supportive and happy I have a job I love. She's a huge prude, but she's opened herself up a lot to learning about sex work and how hard many of us actually work. Now she enjoys giving me advice or ideas. Sex work is work, heart, from one swear to another. I had a church member whose daughter was a porn actress. The mother was a big conservative pittu at church, complaining about any mention of homosexuality or impropriety and reporting to upper levels of the church, I'm talking above the church itself, to the regional or statewide management. She never mentioned her daughter, but given how venomously she opposed moral scandal, it makes sense that she was overcompensating for her family. She eventually died of cancer, and the unfortunate but common rumor was that her cancer was a result of her hateful life. That is also something an Asian community would say. Internally she would have likely been dying inside of shame and embarrassment given how conservative she was. This mental stress can really make you sick. I feel sorry for the mother. Really should have used the serious tack for this one. And NSFW. Have you ever watched porn in HD? You can see the disappointment in the faces of the performers' parents. Really ruins the jerkin sesh when it just cuts to their disappointed parents like that. You misspelled enhances. I've always thought working at the Bunny Ranch, knew a person that frequented a particular lady there, would be a really wise financial choice. She was able to retire fairly early with everything, house, car, investments, etc., paid. This was in the 80s, so things have probably changed. I live nearby the Bunny Ranch and they still make really good money. Absolutely not. Not a parent, but reluctantly in loco parentis, and the answer is resoundingly no. Sex work is legal where we are, but there is still a stigma, and of course it crosses over into drug culture and petty criminality because of the people it attracts, gangs using girls to make money, etc. She is not mixing with a good crowd because of this. It is not skillful work, and while it offers quick easy money, it also does nothing to create any sort of work ethic or ambition. It would be one thing if she was doing it to pay her way through university, but she's not. She's doing it because finding a regular job and turning up every day is too hard. Easier just to do sex work because there will always be skeevy sad little men who pay for it. So why try to develop yourself personally or obtain qualifications or pursue a career when you can get paid for spreading your legs and pretending not to be disgusted for an hour at a time? This is a good reply. I think there's this weird glorification of sex work going on right now. Sex workers shouldn't be treated like shit, but it isn't this noble line of work either. Seriously. I've seen a shit ton of this the last year or so. My parents don't care that I am a dominatrix. I am also a qualified nurse. Maybe that helps knowing I have a backup plan if I wanna quit the game. My mama was horrified when she found out, but I think my dad found it a bit amusing. I've been doing it for 11 years now. I guess it helps I've funded study and travel and lived a pretty awesome life so far and never asked them for money, and also never been addicted to any drugs. I don't even drink alcohol, so I guess the sex work is my one big vice.